You know what they say, folks. Sometimes you just gotta, didn't get it. Oh, it's still bleeding. We should put that back. We'll get it later. Gun industry drama. Welcome back, everybody. It's Wednesday, and it has been quite a minute since we have done a gun industry drama. I think it has been a month since somebody has really stepped in it. And today we're going to be talking about Winchester Ammunition. They announced a couple days ago that they plan to increase pricing pretty much across the board, pretty much immediately. Yeah, that's what it said, which is a really bad look, but I have some perspective that I would like to add on this, because some of this on its face is just really bad, and then some of it is sort of nuanced. So I'm hoping that I can tamp down the ire of the internet slightly, but I'm not going to give Winchester a free pass on this one either. So that and more after we hear a quick word from today's sponsor. Today's video is brought to you by First Form. First Form is a pro-American, pro-freedom supplement company. You probably eat way too much crap and not enough protein. So First Form's mission is to put more protein in your face hole. Now, the thing that I've been using a whole lot lately are their meat sticks. Now, these things are a 20 gram of protein stick. It doesn't need to be refrigerated. It doesn't have any like weird whey or any stuff like that. It is made out of meat. If you check them out using my link in the link tree or on the affiliates page, and that tells them that I sent you, and that helps out the channel. So special thanks to First Form for making today's video possible. Now, before we get going, I have to disclaim that I recovered this from one of the many places that has been posted online. None of those places were an official Winchester page or run by anybody who is associated with Winchester. So I don't know if I'm just late to the party and this was posted and then subsequently removed because of the backlash, or if this was simply an email that somebody screenshot. Now, I'm assuming that this was not sent out to the retail level customer, that this was set out to the dealer level customer and above, right? Somebody who's going to be ordering skits of ammo. That's what I assume, because this is not an email that you would send out to like a retail level customer, because those costs are just going to be distributed, right? Nobody really thinks about Winchester increasing the ammunition price when they're buying it off of the shelf. They just assume that that's part of the transactional increase that goes from manufacturer to distributor to a dealer to retail, right? So there's not a lot of cognitive input when it comes to the prices that you see on the shelf. This is not something that a company likely would put out to their retail level customer. So I'm assuming that it is, again, dealer and above. What I'm getting at is that you can't find this on Winchester page. So there is no direct confirmation that this is legitimate from Winchester. I have reached out to Winchester for comment and they have not responded. So I can only assume that they're hiding right now. And if this was not accurate, then I would expect to go to their X page or their Instagram page and find a refutation of this. But I see none of those things. Also, I see this posted very widely. So disclaimer over, we're going to assume that this is legitimate. So I will go ahead and read it for those of you who might be driving or just simply illiterate. And there's no shame in that. The public education system is what it is. To all Winchester Ammunition customers, thank you for your commitment to Winchester and Browning Ammunition in support of our legendary products. We'll come back to that here in a minute. Due to continuing increased costs of inputs for manufacturing ammunition, it is necessary to increase ammunition prices for all shipments, including back orders, beginning January 1st, 2025. Ammunition will be subject to the increase listed below. All ammunition products plus 5 to 10%. The January 1st, 2025 increases will affect all pack sizes, sub-brands, and special makeups. All existing orders and future orders shipped on or after January 1st, 2025 will be shipped at the new pricing unless you notify us requesting cancellation. New price lists will be issued in December. There are a couple points that I really want to get to in this thing, but before I do, I need to address something that is very concerning to me. As someone who's worked in the firearms industry for over a decade now, I have watched an anti-capitalist sentiment in our community build over that time, and I find it disconcerting. First of all, I understand that there's going to be a small percentage of people that wade into our space from other communities that are backward and don't have their heads screwed on straight. I get that. But for a group of people that profess to be freedom-loving, red-blooded Americans that believe in meritorious compensation and the American dream and all that sort of stuff, for those people to feel as though they are entitled to the work of another at a discounted rate does not make sense to me at all. So I want to make sure that we check what we're going to say today against that backdrop. I think we can probably pull this thing off now. Yeah. All right, cool. First off, let's go with the literal facts. And we reported on this at the beginning of the year. And I just pulled up generative AI really quick just to see kind of what it's currently saying about this, understand the source and, what we're doing. Basically, Google algorizes the stories about a thing and gives us a quick, bullet points synopsis of what the current trend is. And there is a gunpowder shortage in the world right now. And that's because we have at least two major conflicts going on. Bigger than conflict, they are war. There is open war in at least two locations, many more, but major conflicts going on in the world right now that is consuming a fair amount of ammunition and the components that are associated with it. So that is real, that does exist, and that will ultimately have an impact on the ability of the market to get those raw materials and produce those products in a timely manner. Now, this is where my previous life as a chemist kind of weighs in a little bit. When it comes to nitrocellulose, which is the base material for most propellants of the smokeless variety, that's the propellant that is used in gunpowder, as in inside of your actual ammunition cartridges for small arms, but also for your big artillery pieces as well. They use a nitrocellulose-based propellant. So when you are shooting bullets measured in inches instead of fractions of inches, well, you use a lot more of it in addition to the small arms that is being consumed. So when you think about bottlenecks, nitrocellulose is the problem. And the thing with nitrocellulose is there are a couple ways to produce it, but the easiest way to produce it is with nitric acid. There again is another bottleneck. The Oswald process for producing nitric acid happens at the rate of physics. And sometimes that's a good thing, but other times that's a bad thing. It takes, I think it's like 900 degrees or something like that. It takes to, you basically have to mix air, ammonia, and a catalyst together and let it do its thing through vapor pressures and things like that. And it is a time-consuming process. That is to get the raw material that goes into making the nitrocellulose, which is the raw material that is usually used in a large percentage of the makeup of your propellant. Okay, so we're a couple steps back from that. Open war in Europe that's been going on for years that is consuming a lot of propellant. And I get that. On top of that, we have also ruined our dollar because we did some really stupid things, or excuse me, our government did some really stupid things that have massively inflated the dollar and made it basically worthless compared to the 2019 version of the dollar. So there are some things there. Now that we have said all of that, my question to Winchester, since they didn't respond to my email, is as follows. When was the last time you guys raised prices? I want to know that, because if you haven't raised prices since 2015 and you've now incurred all of these costs, well, then a 5 to 10% increase I will buy at least the 5% increase because, you know, things just cost more today, particularly when you're doing things at scale like they are. But if you come back to me and tell me that you raised prices in 2020, well, then we got a problem, or you got a problem anyway, especially when you consider the timing. I find the timing of this to be exceptionally suspect. If you know that the pricing is not going to come out until December, then why are you announcing it right now with a massive election that is likely going to have very strong impacts on the factors that are associated with your price increases, right? If you're claiming that it's because of the propellant shortage, well, you should wait until after the election to actually announce that you're going to do that, because you may not actually have to long-term eat those costs and thus need to increase those prices. And what you have done is signaled that you're going to do this. And in my opinion, that is to create a buying craze for your product. And that is predatory marketing, and that is not okay. And then in closing, what I would say is this business about not honoring previous pricing. I got a real problem with that. Let's say, hypothetically speaking, that I made an order in August and it was back ordered for whatever reason. I ordered a skid of ammunition, we'll say, and you don't ship that until after the January 1st timeline. You are going to ship that to me with probably net 30 pricing, net 60 pricing or something like that, but you're going to use the new pricing model when I committed to the purchase back when the price was different. That is unacceptable. That is really, really bad and is super slimy. That is not okay. When you accept the order, you honor the quote that was at the time, not when you have decided you're finally going to ship it. Because for all we know, they could have a warehouse full of ammunition just sitting there waiting on back order until January 1st so they can ship it with a 10% more expensive invoice. That is disgusting to me. And the concept, and I think this is what really hacks people off. We go back to the very beginning of the email, or I don't actually know that it's an email, a press release or whatever. Thank you for your commitment to Winchester and Browning Ammunition in support of our legendary products. Winchester Ammunition is hot. Winchester Ammunition is not something that I associate with being legendary. Now, I have no business association with Winchester, and I never have. I have other ammunition sponsors, and I'm not going to name them specifically because that would be a conflict of interest in this particular instance. But I think that we can all agree that Winchester Ammunition and Browning Ammunition fall squarely in the commodity section of ammunition categories. This is something that I buy because if I could pay less for it, I would. This is a product that is wholly replaceable, and Winchester needs to remember that. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section down below. Thank you guys for tuning in to the VSO Gun Channel, and hopefully we'll see you in another one here pretty soon.